This is the Carbon Cycle Lab, part 1, and we're looking here at the at-home version of the Carbon Cycle Lab, where I put photographs of the of our results in class. So the first part is just some reading about the carbon cycle, using these terms here to fill in, to match, to fill in the diagram. So whatever this process is in part 1, put the name of it here. Answering some questions about the photosynthesis equation. You can look back at old notes for that or the internet. Reminder of what reactants and products are in an equation. You can go back to these notes. And then here is what producers do with the sugar molecules they make. So what plants do with the sugar molecules they make through photosynthesis. These are the different kind of molecules they build those sugar molecules into. And you're going to look up online and find out where in the plant are these molecules used and what function do they serve. So that's just an internet search there. Writing the equation for cellular respiration. Again, you can look at old notes, internet. More questions. And then this is the lab part. So it explains what we did. And then we use this solution called phenol red indicator solution. And it turns different colors depending on whether you add it to an acid or a base. So the first question was referring back to our acid-base lab, which if you did at home, you just looked up the pHs for the different substances. So we'll have you remember, what is vinegar? Is it an acid or is it a base? What is baking soda? Is it an acid or a base? That's an easy thing to look up online. And then we added phenol red to the vinegar, and this is the color it turned here. So you can, that's an easy one. You can just write what color is that there. Then we added it to the baking soda, and this is the color it turned. This is actually close to the starting color that phenol red is. So it stays red with a base, and it turns orange when it's a little acidic, and then yellow when it's more acidic. Okay, and then you're going to answer this question based on the results above. Then, in preparation for the next part of this lab, which will be looking at photosynthesis and cellular respiration, we wanted to know, how does carbon dioxide, when it's dissolved in water, affect the pH of the solution? And we remember that pH is a measure of the concentration of hydrogen ions in a solution. So a hydrogen ion is an H+, right? It's a hydrogen with one electron removed. And then you refer back to your acids and bases notes sheet, and you can look at that video to answer this question. This is just a recap of the pH scale. 7 is neutral. As we go farther in this direction, it gets more acidic, right? This is very acidic. This is very basic. And then these are weak acid, and then a weak base here. And then this equation isn't very important here. This is what happens when carbon dioxide is forced into water. And what happens is it actually bonds, the carbon dioxide bonds with water molecules to make a larger molecule called carbonic acid. Notice here we have these 2 hydrogens, and they appear here in the carbonic acid molecule. We have 1 carbon, and it appears here. And then we have 2 oxygens from the carbon dioxide and 1 oxygen from the water, and they appear here as these 3 oxygens. So carbon dioxide, when it's dissolved into water, binds with the water and becomes carbonic acid. So then knowing that carbon dioxide dissolved in water forms an acid, you're going to answer this question. All right, and then the last little experiment part we did in class is we had our phenol red solution, and it was red. I'm using a red pen, so that's easy. And someone used a straw and blew bubbles into it. And what happened after they blew bubbles, and you have to think about when someone is exhaling, what are we breathing out when we exhale? That red solution turned yellow. So you're going to explain what happened there. Why did it turn yellow? And then you're going to use that information, thinking about an aquatic plant. We're using this little plant called Elodea. That's going to be in part 2 of the lab. And I'm going to get my green pen, and it's this little water plant. It looks kind of like this with all these little leaves, and it lives in water. And if we put that in some water, underneath the water in a beaker, and then we add this phenol red solution to it, which, oops, I wanted green. And now I'm going to add the phenol red solution to it. Okay, so we add some phenol red solution, and then we put it out in the sun and let it do some photosynthesis. You're making a prediction here. What color do you think the solution will turn? And the hint is to look at the photosynthesis equation from earlier in this lab. What does photosynthesis, what are the products? And how is that going to affect the color of this phenol red solution? Then you do another similar question. If an organism is doing cellular respiration in water with phenol red, what color do you think the solution will turn? So then you answer that question. And then we'll bring that information into part 3.